Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Wednesday, the 22nd of July, 2026. We'll begin, as always, with the synoptic picture. Not a great deal to discuss here. You can see this area of high pressure out to the west, more or less dominating the UK. Very slack isobars with a sort of northerly flow here. A little bit of frontal activity up to the north, stemming from this low quite a long way to the northwest, but nothing that's going to cause us any concern in the south today. So fairly typical high pressure conditions, possibly a little bit of high cover, but a light north, on perhaps northwesterly flow, and hopefully some reasonable soaring conditions. Looking at the set pick here, you can see quite a lot of cloud to the north, but top cover to the south, mainly clear. And hopefully this stuff out to the west holding off. It was certainly quite a bulk of cloud north of us. They're not really expecting a great deal of it today, possibly some of this beginning to work its way in, but we should hopefully avoid the bulk of it. There's no rain associated with that, and we're not anticipating any rain today. Looking at the TAF odium, they're showing us 310 degrees, 3 knots, 10 kilometers of visibility, and a few clouds at 3,000 feet. So hopefully, a sign of some cumulus later on. Their current observation is 280 degrees, 4 knots, Cav with no significant weather. Farnborough, they're vaguely similar, variable at 3 knots, 10 kilometer vis, and few at 4.5. And their observation much the same, no cloud detected. Winds aloft, looking sort of very light west-northwesterly here, or even west-southwesterly, perhaps to the south of us at around 10 knots, variable at 5,000 feet. To the north of us, northerly, going between north-northeasterly and north-northwesterly, only around 5 knots at flying height. Surface wind, looking at windy here, showing a very, very gentle northwesterly wind coming across the airfield there. And the local Met Office forecast showing much the same, although predicting clearly a change of some sort around about London, or maybe 2 or 3 o'clock local time, coming around to the southeast and then remaining southerly and a little bit stronger for the rest of the day. So we'll keep an eye on that, possibly a run change, but hopefully if it settles into the south, there's no need. GFS giving us about 26 degrees in the warmest part of the day, with a dew point of 10. And presently we are up to just over 17 degrees centigrade with a dew point of 14.1. That's the view on the south side. Looking to the west, so you can see a little bit of haze on the horizon and a light northwesterly flow, or very, very light northerly winds. Refreshing it there, very slack once more. Skysight cross-section, well, on the left-hand side, first and foremost, an excerpt from the potential flight distance, so showing a reasonable amount of cross-country potential, albeit potentially blue. And on the right-hand side is the cross-section, showing soarable from fairly early on, and a long soaring window, potentially up to 6,000 feet, with some top cover thickening around about 2 o'clock, as we see that change in the wind direction. NOTAMs, nothing of great significance for our local flying. Obviously, we have the TMZ and the Fairfords, as well as the inter-services over at Middle Wallop. There's also a number of paragliding NOTAMs in to the north of the danger areas, and some of those restricted areas over towards the plains are active. We'll move on now to the local briefing. Global bookings to begin, so just 2 K21s for the 5-day courses, and 2 K21s on booked flying. We've got a K13 for the casual list, and another on trial lessons. The third K13 is on skills tests and some private member flying. We do have some single-seater availability, and presently 4 on the casual list, so if there are any instructors around who are looking to chip in, that would be greatly appreciated. One movement today, Beach 200, arrival around about 20 to 2. That's going to be a hybrid, so that will be involved as clearing the runway, potential there. If we do have that southerly wind or the southeasterly wind, potentially, there could be an option for a run change there. We will just have to wait and see. Reminder, of course, about the buoyant expedition. And in summary, we've got a dominant high pressure continuing across the UK. A sunny day with blue thermals, potentially some top cover later on. Seeing light northwesterly flow becoming southeasterly and then southerly this afternoon. Initially, we'll operate runway 27 with cables on the south side. And there's our airfield setup to finish. As always, do not land or taxi across the disused runway shown in red. And winching here on the south grass of the main runway, turning north the centre line, grid in its usual place, and all self-launches, please, gridding along the the north side of the Perry track, to the east of runway 23. That's all for me this morning. See you out there. Let's have a good day and keep it safe. Thank you.